Hey folks, I'm Sarah and I'm on the 2025 jury for what I think is the best book prize for literary fiction from small presses. It's called the Republic of Consciousness Prize, United States and Canada, and it is dedicated to literary fiction from small presses in North America. Over the next few months, I will be sharing every single book nominated for the prize, and while I can't share my personal opinions on each book just yet, I will share enough details so that you can get to know the book and the publisher. Every book gets its very own video, and you are not going to want to miss a single one. Next up is book number 7. Again, these are in no particular order. It's Skin by Catherine Bush. These are short stories published by Goose Lane Editions. And these 13 stories vary widely in length, from just a couple of pages to nearly novella length, it felt like. And they're mostly contemporary realism with a few forays into more kind of historical fiction and a little bit of speculative fiction thrown in there as well. But one thing is shared across all 13 stories, and that is that these are stories about characters who are longing for connection. These are all characters who are longing for meaningful, vulnerable contact with someone or something else beyond themselves. So whether it is a woman who is plagued by migraines who travels to a headache convention to try to find someone who shares her experiences, to a teacher who is in kind of a green card marriage and is longing for connection that she kind of embarks on a maybe beyond appropriate relationship with a student. There's a man who chases storms, longing to connect with something bigger than himself. And there's Roxanne writing to Cyrano 10 years after Christian's death. These are all characters who are longing to connect with their families, with a lover, with strangers, with animals, with the planet. They're all characters who are seeking some kind of contact beyond themselves. There are a lot of stories about love and loss, and many of the stories, whether in a big way or in a smaller way, incorporate themes of climate crisis. I mentioned that the stories vary in length and they almost alternate between the really longer stories and then really short, compact stories. And in fact, the first story is a really long story, and it is followed by not only a super short story, but it's followed by the title story. So the title story is actually the second story in the book, and it is a really very short, compact, succinct story that it comes right on the heels of a super long story. And I thought it was significant that that second short story was also the title story, and it got me thinking a lot about that tool that writers use and have at their disposal, no matter the unit of writing. They have this tool of varying the length of whatever the unit is. So you could have sentences, you could have a really, really, really long sentence followed by a single word or a really short sentence, and it puts so much impact on that short sentence. Or you could have a really, really, really long paragraph, pages long, and then a writer could right after that put something short, bam, short little punchy sentence there. Or at the chapter level too, I'm sure we've all read books where there's, maybe a standard length chapter, and then all of a sudden you come to a chapter that's like a paragraph or even a sentence with lots of white space, and it's just boom, right there, that short, powerful chapter. No matter the level or like the unit of writing that you're talking about, that technique puts extra emphasis on the short thing. Extra emphasis on that short, powerful, bam moment that comes after something really a lot lengthier. And it makes me think a lot actually of comedy and the rhythm of comedy, especially, when you're thinking of a comedian telling a really long, winding joke with lots and lots of details, and they're building and building and building and building towards something, and then bam, punchline. And that's what this felt like. It felt like a long story to start off the book, to get into the rhythm and to kind of get a sense of what this book is going to be like, and then bam, right after that really long story is just this short, title story. Got me thinking about all of the techniques and tools that writers have at their disposal, even when it comes to arranging stories, the order that stories appear in a story. So it felt like that, having that bam title story after the long story was like punchline. Here is wrapped up in one short space everything you need to know about how to read the rest of this collection. Catherine Bush is the author of 5 novels. Her most recent novel, Blaze Island, was a Globe and Mail and Writers' Trust of Canada Best Book of the Year and the Hamilton Reads 2021 selection, and she lives in Toronto and in an old schoolhouse in Eastern Ontario. Goose Lane Editions is based in Fredericton, New Brunswick's capital, and as they describe themselves, they are a vital part of Canada's ever-morphing publishing landscape. Whether it's homegrown Canadian fiction, singular collections of poetry, books on contemporary art, or courageous stances on environmental issues and global politics, we provide book lovers with great reads that inspire, spur conversation, and stimulate minds. And that's just one of many incredible books nominated by one of many incredible publishers. The long list of 10 books is usually announced in mid-January-ish, but I guarantee you there are going to be more than 10 amazing books from these nominees. So if you love offbeat, under-the-radar literary fiction, you are going to want to follow along. Click above or below for the next nominated book. If I've filmed it, it'll be available there. If not, stay tuned for just a little while longer. And in the meantime, you can click the playlist below that will contain all of the nominated books that I've shared so far. Again, my name is Sarah. Thank you so much for joining me here. I'll talk to you next time. Bye.